morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great start to the day. I have already vibed. I've been up since quite a while. It is 8 o'clock in Sydney, and it's time to start doing some reading. I feel like a bit of a broken record with my Rich Dad Poor Dad in Chinese. I'm learning Chinese, but I know that you're not studying Chinese or you may not speak Chinese. So we are going to keep to our usual routine for now. The Art of Thinking Clearly. We are up to chapter 70. This one is a very exciting chapter. It is Why Propaganda Works, the Sleeper Effect. And I quickly say hello to Jody, who said hello on BIGO with a beautiful green love heart for us. Mladen's joining us on the Zoom, which is very exciting. Now, I know that everybody has goals to achieve, things to do. Reading is a great way to get really motivated and have a great start to the day. And I'm happy to read for you because I love reading. So here we go. Let's do some reading, get motivated, and then go out and have a great day so that we start achieving. Well, we don't have to completely achieve the goal. We can also just take a smaller step towards that goal. Mladen just quickly also written something, a quick good morning, and then we'll get into it. And I think this one's going to be a good chapter because we're talking about World War II things, and I'm very interested in that at the moment, especially. Okay, during World War II, every nation produced propaganda movies. These were devised to fill the population, especially soldiers, with enthusiasm for their country and, if necessary, to bolster them to lay down their lives. The US spent so much money on propaganda that the War Department decided to find out whether the expense was really worth it. A number of studies were carried out to investigate how the movies affected regular soldiers. The result was disappointing. They did not intensify the privates' enthusiasm for the war in the slightest. Was it because they were poorly made? Hardly. Rather, the soldiers were aware that the movies were propaganda, which discredited their message even before they were rolling. Even if the movie argued a point reasonably or managed to stir the audience, it didn't matter. Its content was deemed hollow from the outset and dismissed. I am liking this chapter already. 9 weeks later, something unexpected happened. The psychologist measured the soldiers' attitudes a second time. The result, whoever had seen the movie expressed much more support for the war than those who had not viewed it. Apparently, propaganda did work after all. The scientists were baffled, especially since they knew that an argument's persuasiveness decreased over time. Opposite effect there. Has a half-life like a radioactive substance. Surely you have experienced this yourself. Let's say you read an article on the benefits of gene therapy. Immediately after reading it, you are a zealous convert. But after a few weeks, you don't really remember why. More time passes until, finally, only a tiny fraction of enthusiasm remains. Because when we read something, we get all excited about it. It's something new to us, and we start to believe in it. And we can see how it all ties in and fits together. Then over time, we start thinking about it and we look for new, well, some of us do. And then we start looking for new connections and we try and relate it back to information that we already know. And we might find something that contradicts it or that doesn't make sense with regards to it. So it decreases over time. So it might still be relevant. It might still seem like it's true, but it's not. We're not as enthusiastic and we're not thinking about it as strongly as we were at the beginning. Amazingly, just the opposite is true for propaganda. If it strikes a chord with someone, this influence will only increase over time. Why? Psychologist Carl Hovland, who led the study for the War Department, named this phenomenon the sleeper effect. To date, the best explanation is that in our memories, the source of the arguments fades faster than the argument. In other words, your brain quickly forgets where the information came from. For example, from the Department of Propaganda. Meanwhile, the message itself, war is necessary and noble, fades only slowly or often endures. Therefore, any knowledge that stems from an untrustworthy source gains credibility over time. The discrediting force melts away faster than the message does. In the US elections, increasingly revolve around nasty advertisements in which candidates seek to tarnish each other's reputation or record. However, by law, each political ad must disclose its sponsor at the end, so that it is clearly distinguishable as an electioneering message. However, countless studies show that the sleeper effect does its job here too, especially among undecided voters. The messenger fades from memory. The ugly accusations persevere. I've often wondered why advertising works at all. Any logical person must recognize ads for what they are and suitably categorize and disqualify them. Now, I know that that is definitely the case for me due to something that I described in an earlier chapter where I had a wine label collection. I put it into an envelope. The envelope had it had an advertisement. It had like a logo on it. And we were driving one day and I saw an advertisement for that company. I hated clothing. It was a clothing company. And I felt all enthusiastic. And then I later realized that the positive and happy association of my wine label collection, which was something really important and something really that I enjoyed at that time, was associated to the advertisement. And from that time on, it's been like a disillusion to me. And I've been able to separate myself from advertising. But even you, as a discerning and intelligent reader, won't always succeed at this, especially with subliminal advertising, which is like one frame, and our brain can process one frame, but our eyes can't see one frame. So we don't know that we've been advertised to. That, I think, is very challenging for anybody to be able to deal with. It's quite possible that after a few weeks, you won't remember if you picked up certain information from a well-researched article or from a tacky advertorial. How can you thwart the sleeper effect? First, don't accept any unsolicited advice, even if it seems well-meant. Doing so, you protect yourself to a certain degree from manipulation. So when you're on Google, make sure you look for the things that you want to look for. Be open to other things, because we don't want to have the same thing that we were talking about in another chapter as well, where you only look for things that confirm what you already believe, the confirmation bias. However, we do want to make sure that we check the source and we are happy with where the information comes from. Having said that, propaganda is usually a government tool, which means that a lot of us might be listening to the government when the government may not have our best interests at heart. And I know that is extremely controversial at the moment because most people believe that the government is doing a great job for us. Doing so, you protect yourself to a certain degree from manipulation. Second, avoid ad-contaminated sources like the plague. How fortunate we are that books are still ad-free. Very often people write the books for ads for themselves. Anyhow, that's something else. Third, try to remember the source of every argument you encounter. Whose opinion are these? And why do they think that way? Probe the issue like an investigator would. Cui bono? Who benefits? Admittedly, this is a lot of work and will slow down your decision making, but it will also refine it. So I think this is a very good chapter. It's important for us to really be aware of what information is coming to us, whether we are in control of that information, what the thinking behind it is, because very often all information just goes straight in and we do not really think about it. So this is a great chapter to have a think about. What kind of information is out there? What am I allowing in? Where is it coming from? Why is somebody sending this message? Is it meant to change my mind? Is there money behind it? Is there some other ulterior motive to it? If we can sit down and think about that a little bit, even though we're very, very busy, obviously, but if we can take some time to think about, and this is something that I do a lot, and I don't know why I started doing this or how I got into the habit, but I'm very critical and analyzing everything that I see. One of the things that I do, and one of the reasons why I have an extremely good memory is, one, I studied memory techniques, but two, is because everything that comes in, I will actually analyze it and think about how I would teach somebody else this information. So when I'm playing cash flow, when I'm reading a book, when I'm studying something, I'm always thinking about how does that work? Why does it work that way? Do I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? So the more you can think about those kinds of things, and I know that very often we're very busy, but if you can think about those kinds of things a little bit, then you want to go and teach other people. Imagine that you're a teacher and that you only want to teach people good things. So you can start to think about, was this propaganda? Am I being influenced? Am I being manipulated? Is this happening? Is this a good source? Is this information in order to benefit somebody else? Is there something good for me in this? And then I can filter it before I teach somebody else that information, which means that I'm going to be able to remember it myself better because I am about to teach it. What we teach, we remember better. And we're also being critical for ourselves and also passing on better information rather than propaganda, manipulated or information that is going to benefit somebody else to our detriment, for example. So I thought that was a great chapter. I am looking forward to hearing what your thoughts are on this. And you can watch this again, and you can watch previous chapters of the book that we are reading and other books that we're going to be reading at YouTube, which is the Passive Cash Flow Club. So feel free to head on over and watch some other episodes and leave a comment. I love hearing your comments. I love hearing what you think, and I love replying and interacting with you. The other thing that you can do is you can have a look at what else I am up to. I have lots of great things going on. We have Cash Flow Simulator that we do once every 2 weeks. We're going to start doing some other things in between. You can also see some of the things that I have been organizing outside of that, other topics that I talk about, finances, passive income, all sorts of really exciting stuff. So you can follow me on Instagram, which is, and I always forget the Instagram for some reason, business_team_6_official. So you can find me there. You can follow me there, and you can also DM me. I love hearing from you. I would love to know your thoughts. I love having conversations with people that talk about subjects like this, finances, all sorts of interesting things. I am one of those crazy people that is interested in almost everything. So I love having great discussions on all sorts of things. So reach out, get in touch, and it's been a pleasure having you this morning. I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow for tomorrow's reading, which is chapter 71, Why It's Never Just a Two-Horse Race. And the subtitle of this one is called Alternative Blindness. So I'm looking forward to reading that one for you tomorrow at 8 o'clock Sydney time. Go out and have an amazing day. Feel free, please do reach out. I would love to get to know more of you. It is always a pleasure. The people that I've already met that have been watching, and all the new ones, I would love to meet you as well. So go out, have a great day, achieve some steps toward your goals. You might not have to reach your goal all in one day. And I'll see you all tomorrow. And thank you again for joining.